What's going on YouTube? It is Texans Takeover back with another video. Happy championship weekend. I guess it's not really a happy championship weekend if you're a Texans fan because you'd really hope your team would have been playing earlier on today in that snowstorm in Denver. But currently we got the Rams versus the Seahawks game going on right behind me. And the Seahawks are winning 24-20 at the time of this video. Devontae Adams just scored, but in this video, we're talking about Cade Mays to Houston potentially. This is the start of the free agent tracker series. This is our first link to a player throughout this, or well, to start this free agent process. So obviously, every time we're linked to a player, I'm going to go in depth about the player, talk about the player, whether or not I like him, whether or not I think he's a good fit here, how expensive is he going to be, all those things taken into consideration. But Cade Mays was linked to the Texans today. And that was by Mr. Troy Pauline, where he said, obviously this was a report from a Texans Twitter account. You can go follow the @ is right there. Just giving him his props because he was the one that brought it to all the Texans fans' attention, but said that the Texans are expected to make a run at the Panthers starting center Cade Mays once free agency opens in March. And he says Mays has played well in 1,221 snaps over the last 2 years for Carolina, grading out relatively well at 66.1 and 62.4 the last 2 years. And then this bottom screenshot here is the article where he said the Texans targeting offensive line help in free agency. During a recent team needs piece on the Houston Texans, I mentioned that the team has a screaming need on the interior of their offensive line. That same day, I also mentioned in a separate article on the Carolina Panthers that center Cade Mays was not expected back and will hit the free agent market in March. Sources here at the Shrine Bowl expect the Texans to make a run at Mays once free agency opens to fill the hole they have at center. Mays, a sixth-round pick by Carolina in 2022, has started 27 games for the Panthers, including 20 over the past 2 seasons. He also started some at right guard early on in his career. He was a restricted free agent last year, ended up signing a one-year deal with the Panthers again. Um, but now he's looking to open the or hit the open market. Everyone's at the Shrine Bowl, obviously. Um, I believe someone from Texas actually got injured during the Shrine Bowl practice today, but um, yeah, gonna keep up with that. Obviously, keep up with the Shrine Bowl, see what prospects look good. Um, but sources at the Shrine Bowl say that they expect the Texans to go after Cade Mays in this upcoming free agency. But what does that look like? What does that cost? This is Spot Track right here. Um, He's on a $3.5 million deal right now. He's expected to get around 12 in free agency. So you look at the likes of like a Drew Dahlman headed to the Bears. I think that's a very similar comparison to what Cade Mays is going to get in terms of money. He's proven center, starting center, played well for the Panthers this year. Their offensive line unit's actually very solid, especially when they're all healthy. It's just the health concerns that they do have. And same account here saying the last 2 seasons for Cade Mays in pass protection. He has a 74.9 pass block grade in 2024, which ranked fourth in all centers, and then a 63.4 in true pass block grade, which ranks eighth. This year was a little bit of a down year, but he did have an ankle injury, which is hindering his mobility early on in the year. And he graded out a 69.4, which is 14th, so still top half of the league, and then a 52.8 in true pass block grade, which graded out to 29th, but he did not allow a sack in either season, which I think is very important because I think Jake Andrews was a little bit prone to the sack at some points of the year. But yeah, Cade Mays is a great player. He's going to require a decent sum of money, but in my opinion, I would allocate the 5 extra million and just go get Tyler Linderbaum for 17 or 16, whatever he's asking for, and just pay that. If he's asking for 20, then I understand why you wouldn't go for him. But I think if you can get Linderbaum, get Linderbaum. But Cade Mays is a very solid player, very solid center. Um, Honestly, someone that I always go after and imagine when I see him hit the open market, just because he's young, and he's also proven. So yeah, someone that's going to hit the open market, someone that the Texans are looking to sign. I would be very happy with this signing. This would mean it's an offensive line of Ursery, maybe Titus Howard, maybe someone in the draft, and then Cade Mays, Ingram if you bring him back, and then Titus Howard at right tackle, or someone you draft at right tackle, or someone else in free agency like a Jermaine Illuminor. I wouldn't be surprised if the Texans do go out and get him, or a Taylor Moton. Someone could go out and get him at right tackle, but Yeah, I think Cade Mays would be a very solid piece to replace Jake Andrews and be an upgrade on Jake Andrews, which we know we desperately need. But it's time to watch some film on Jake Andrews. This is his Week 3 film against the Falcons. You can just see very violent in pass protection. Likes to get his hands on dudes and just push them around. Very solid base, very low center of gravity right there. Um, Again, didn't allow sack all season. Pretty much maintains his ground, and obviously he's one of those offensive linemen that loves to just go look for work. Anytime he can help out another offensive lineman, he's going to help out. He can pull, he can move. He's a very quick center, good agility at the position. Rarely gets pushed back too. He's huge. I think he's around like 6'6" or 6'5", um, and got a really solid base at that frame and a really good athleticism for that frame. You can see how well he moves, and how quick he gets out to his steps as soon as he snaps the ball. And this is not a bad defensive line for um, the Falcons with Jalen Walker and James Pierce. See him pulling there over to the right tackle there and just really opening up a pocket for Bryce Young. Yeah, this is a really good Falcons defensive line unit. Row was very solid for them this year. Um, James Pierce and Jalen Walker, like I just said, very decent pass rush tandem. Um, so he was isolated a lot in terms of just uh, sorry, the Seahawks just scored and it threw me off. But he's pretty isolated in this game in terms of just being either helping out the left guard or being isolated on a D tackle playing, straight up on the center. And he held his own in this game. I think this was probably one of his best performances of the season, but he also has some other highlights that I'll show you later that I really like as well. This is obviously going to be the longest one. This is just a full game clip of Cade Mays that I was able to find. Just really climbs well in the passing game, climbs well in the run game too, which is definitely something that will be shown to you shortly. But you can see they're just a really solid base, doesn't really let the rip get to him, and even if it does, it's late. Um, and yeah, I think one of the most solid performances of the season for Cade Mays right there. And I think that shows you everything you're getting with him, and that is a very solid pass protector, a good guy in the run game too. But I think his prowess is definitely in the run game. Could definitely improve, or excuse me, his prowess is definitely in the pass game and could improve as a run blocker. But even then, he's very solid there. As I show you this, you see Cade Mays right there, just bulldoze that dude right here. I will rewind that for you. You see him climb to the second level right about there. Um, it takes about 1 second from the snap. He snaps it, helps out on the right guard with that defensive tackle right there. He's playing. Um, I believe that's on the A gap pre-snap. Yeah, on the A gap right there. But he slants outward to stop the run right there, and Cade Mays follows with him. And then he realizes that uh, is that Robert Hunt right there, I want to say, is able to hold his own. He climbs up to the second level and then helps out the left guard and just bulldozes that dude, which opens up that hole for Dowdle to climb up into and break a big run. We know that the Dolphins' defense wasn't that great early on in the year, but Cade Mays really made that run into something special for Rico Dowdle. Same thing here, just climbing to the second level right there. That is teach tape. I know this run doesn't accumulate too much, but you see what he does here on the snap. Snaps the ball, helps out. I believe that's Robert Hunt again, or either Robert Hunt's the left guard, and I'm just tweaking. But helps out on the D tackle on the A gap. You see a lot of D tackles in the A gap with four-man front. Ball's handed off to Daddle right there, and then he's able to climb to the second level on Maui Noah, and is able to hold his own. And then obviously um, Rico Dowdle doesn't get a big gain there, but you can see the hole that Cade Mays was able to create on that right hand side as well. If Dowdle was just able to bounce it, but I believe that's Iquanu who just got beat by Quentin Williams there early on in the year before the Jets made their trades, and you can't really fault him for that because that's one of the best uh, three techniques in the league. But yeah, that shows you what you're getting in Cade Mays. You're getting a really good pass blocker and a guy that's really solid in run protection as well. While I talk about this, I'll just go back to the tape against the Falcons. But yeah, you're getting a guy that pass blocks well, that run blocks decent, but you could definitely improve on that. But I think Jake Andrews was just mediocre at both. He wasn't really great at either, and I think Cade Mays is one of the better pass blocking centers in the league, which would really help C.J. Stroud. Um, his agility, his ability to pull too. I think could be important for Nick Caley, who's going to probably want to pull him after he snaps. Um, Maybe to help out on the blitz on an overload side or something like that. Just quick for his size, agile. The sixth round pick who has panned out pretty well in the league. And been a very solid player for Carolina the past couple of years. Even when he was playing right guard, he was decent. But now that he's back at center, I think he found his true form. And yeah, I would really like to see him in Houston. Obviously, if Linderbaum's there, everyone's gonna want Linderbaum, but I would definitely be a fan of Cade Mays coming here, and I think most would. But let me know what your opinions on Cade Mays are down in the comment section below. And if you did enjoy this video, please be sure to like, subscribe. I think this is probably one of the best, free agent links to come out first in terms of just addressing the offensive line. I think it's um, finally glad that Nick Casario identifies it as a need and is going after it in free agency rather than just trying to go after it through the draft. Uh, but hopefully you're bringing back Ed Ingram. Hopefully you're bringing Cade Mays, and then the offensive line unit. It's going to look solid heading into next year, especially if we draft well. But yeah, that is everything. Again, as I said earlier, if you did enjoy this video, please be sure to like, subscribe. Give me your opinions on Cade Mays. Would you rather get someone else at the center position? Would you rather just spend it all for a Linderbaum? Um, or are there other options in the open market or that you like, or any trade options that you like? Let me know, and I'll definitely reply to y'all's comments as I always do. But thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, it's Texans Takeover, and I'm out. Peace.